How's it going? Nice to see you guys. My screen is not showing up here, is it? Do you guys see my screen? Let me open up that so I can see your responses. It is working. Is it just me or audio is not working? I'm speaking. Hello, hello, testing. Yeah, sound is there. I don't see that you guys can see my screen though. Now it's working. Yes, I see your screen. You do? Okay. Which chart do I have up right now? What chart do I have up? Can you tell me what chart you see on your screen right at this moment? Do you have microphones? Can I unmute your mic so we can have a conversation and we can speed through this a little bit quicker, if you don't mind? Aussie. Nice. Okay, good. All right. Well, I wanted to go through, nice, great, great, good stuff. All right, so we had some big moves here, and I wanted to go through the watch list with you guys and take a look. Do you guys want to unmute your mics? Let me know. Put up your hand, and I'll unmute your mic for you. Ronaldo, you don't have a mic. It doesn't show that you have a mic there for me to unmute. So don't have anything there. So let's take a look at gold. Gold shot up quite nicely here. We were talking about that one before with the big move to the upside, but how we need this weekly area of supply to be taken out first before we have anything substantial, right? There's my drawing tool. Why is my drawing tool? There we go. So we got a big push to the upside though, which is very positive. That's good. It's on its way to make a move, but it hasn't quite yet made anything substantial. Okay. In terms of oil, we had price coming down to that area on the 4-hour chart, that demand zone. And I was mentioning today that with the weakness in the Canadian dollar, we should be watching this chart here for that move. Okay. And the move was some type of here we go. Oh, now the pen's not working. Unbelievable. What is going on here? Okay. We were watching for some type of a momentum shift to take place here, but it didn't happen. Okay. So no momentum shift, no trade signal. Instead, it just slowly went down. Look at that. The 15-minute supply was used to continue price lower. Interesting how that worked there, right? So no trade signal on that one, which is fine. We put this back up to the 4-hour. Okay, so now we have this demand zone being taken out, which means we now have a supply here. And that's what's taking place right now on this chart. Okay. All right, so we have a new area of supply there at the highs, reacting off of that daily area of supply there at the highs. So I'm not going to be focusing my attention on this right now. You know, when we look at the US CAD, we see it slowly making its way up, right? We've been talking about this for some time now. The expectation with the price to continue on moving upwards until we get this area contacted here, the supply. So it's now making its move. And so we'll see if it's actually going to continue. It's very likely going to. That's what I'm watching for at least. Okay. So with that being said, the Canadian dollar is going to be getting weaker. Okay. weak US dollar usually means weak oil. So I don't want to be getting into any long trades with oil as long as the US CAD continues to move to the upside. All right, so that one's going to be put on hold. We're looking at pound yen. So pound yen, we can flash over to there. So the move to the downside continues. We have, it looks like price is now moving through this area of demand that was holding for some time, and it's continuing downwards. So not too surprised by that with the weekly uptrend and weekly demand being formed. Weekly demand is too close to the second contact, so we need to be cautious. Yes, so when price gets down there, I'll be looking for an additional signal on the lower time frames to take any long positions from down there. US dollar, Japanese yen. So weekly chart just about to remove the weekly supply, and once that happens, long trade signals. So we see that price is indeed rallying up right now, back into that area of supply on the weekly chart. So nothing quite yet for a signal, but we are watching this to see if it's going to continue rallying up and take out that area of supply. CAD yen, watching this chart for long trade signals to be confirmed on the higher time frames, and weekly trend is confirmed. Weekly demand formed lower on the chart. Weekly chart signaling long. So let's take a look at CAD yen now. So the CAD yen, we had the daily uptrend, and we had the daily demand that was holding price. It broke through that, which signaled that a move lower down towards the weekly area of demand would take place. So that's in the process of happening right now. And so we'll have to wait until it makes its move down there. If it doesn't and it makes new highs, then new demand areas are what I will be looking for to enter into trades. Now the euro, look at this sucker drop. Okay, so we've been watching this one for some time. You guys do see my screen still? Okay. So the trade signal, daily, weekly supply for shorting. Okay, that's what the trade signal was, daily, weekly supply for shorting. Price rallied up to the weekly supply with the daily supply nested in it, and it is dropping. Now, because of the improper formation of the weekly supply, meaning we would have preferred that there was a better looking candle there as supply, but this is what we got. And the monthly demand being somewhat questionable because all it broke was the descending trend line from a higher time frame. What we were preferring to find here was a momentum shift, a 4-hour momentum shift. And so it didn't play out as we would typically find in momentum shifts, right? Because typically in momentum shifts, we have situations where, and I took a screenshot of it here. This is what would typically happen, okay, in a momentum shift. So let me just open that up for you to take a look here. So this is the weekly supply zone, all right? Here's the weekly supply zone. And so typically what we would get in a situation like this is that price would rally up, create a trend to the upside, break the trend line, create supply. That would be your first entry to get in short. And then moving down, removing opposing demand, creating supply, downward trend, and then retracing up to supply for a continued move lower. Okay, this is what typically forms. Okay, now let me close this off and show you what has formed. So if you take a look here, what did happen is we have this intersecting area here. Okay, it did not produce a 50% candle, but it produced like this intersection. This happens very rarely, but it does happen, and here's one of those cases. Okay, here's the break of the trend line, right? We had price moving upwards. Here's the break of the trend line. Here's that area that was responsible for it. Price never retraced all the way up because of this area here. And now you see that this is the exact area that price is reacting now to the downside. All right. Here's another thing I'll point out. This trend line here wasn't the greatest looking trend line. And when I drew it, I knew there was something wrong with it. Okay. The reason being is because this is something that we've talked about in the classroom sessions. And so let me just go through it now with you again. When we have price at a very high point and then price drops very hard, okay, and we have this type of formation, these trend lines don't make for good trend lines, okay? Because of the fact that price came from very high up, very big drop to the downside, small little curve up, and then continues lower. These trend lines don't make for good trend lines. In circumstances like this, what we're waiting for is for one more push upwards and then down, and we connect this area to this area, and those are the trend lines that we want, okay? So now let's go over to what we got here, all right? This is what I'm talking about. So if we look here, price was up here. Look at how dramatic this drop was, okay? Very, very dramatic. And then we got that push straight up, right? This is what I'm talking about, the improper trend lines. With this type of move, we would have expected, you know, the peak to be here somewhere of price, okay? This would have been a little bit more understandable, okay? But not such a drop, like a staggered drop, okay? Something like that would have been more in line with what we expect the trend line to look like. But instead, we didn't get that. Instead, we got this massive drop, which produced this really ugly looking trend line. So that kind of shifted things here because number one, this would have been the area that we would have got in if this was a 50% candle. And then number two, with the removal of this demand zone here, it produced this supply. But this supply was not within the context of this trend line holding, okay? Which changed the dynamic of what was taking place on the chart. And that's a, you know, it's a bummer that it created the chart like this, but it did. And so we couldn't have seen this coming. I mean, overall, we have targets to the downside. Overall, we've been expecting price to be weak, yes, but I was looking to time a really nice entry to get into more short trades. I've already got short exposure on the euro, but I was really looking for great examples for trade signals with the supply here, with the supply here, within the context of a downtrend. But that didn't play out like that. So it's unfortunate, but we'll take it as it is. So right now we got this situation. Now we got this downtrend, which is good. Look at this candle. One candle doji, not the type of candles that we're looking for, right? We don't like one candle dojis. In our trading, we've always learned that one candle dojis don't make the best zones. So I do think that if price was to rally up there, that it could very likely be used to facilitate the bigger drop that we are expecting. Because remember, there's our targets down there, okay? This could very well happen, okay? A move like that. Bottom line, our targets at 113.02 are getting closer, and the trades that I have right now are profitable. So this is looking good. So I'll be watching this area. If it does rally up to here, because it's a one candle doji, I will be looking for momentum to shift on 15 minutes charts, okay? So I'll switch it over to a 15-minute chart and watch for this drop. So now what I'd like to do is just put like an alert up on the chart here, and so crossing up H4 supply about to contact, look for 15-minute momentum shift, okay? That will be the signal to get in. Okay, that will be the signal to get in. So this is looking quite good. I like the look of this. And I'll update this. Shorts with H4 momentum shift off weekly supply zone at 117. So yeah, that signal was dead on. Shorts with the H4 momentum shift. Definitely got the momentum shifts, just not in the way that we were looking for. So now short at H4 supply within H4 downtrend is the new signal. Okay, that's our new signal. Okay, so let's save that. Any questions? My screen is stuck and you can't hear me. Can everybody else hear me? Can you guys hear and see me? Yes? Okay. That's one person. Everybody else, can you hear me and see me? See my screen? It seems to be okay. Seems to be okay. Yeah. If you're having issue, you can also come into the watch list video section, November 10th, right here. And I posted an unlisted YouTube um, a video here that will gain you access to the channel. Okay. I made it available on both. Maybe that's what's causing maybe some delay on your end. Not sure. But I just wanted to provide with more links and more ability to contact, so I did that. Okay. So Aussie seems like really catching up now, right? We've been talking about this. The Aruja report was talking about that. In fact, let's bring up the notes that I took on that one in the Aruja report, November 7. Let's bring this up. Okay. Because we were analyzing that. There is evidence building to support weakness on this chart, right? That was at 0.7400 up here. So we're getting that. And actually, that's been written in the Aruja report for some time now, the last few weeks, that there was evidence to support they were going to be building more weakness on the chart. Okay. So that is what's happening now. It's coming down. And we know by, our analysis of this chart, this daily chart, that this trend is no good. All right. So with the trend being no good, this can easily be removed and price continue. Look at the weekly chart. There's nothing to stop price here. Okay. So very good chance that we see price just continue on downwards. Aussie, Japanese yen. This one's off the watch list because of the demand being taken out and no momentum shift taking place off of it. Let's look at the other euro pairs. Euro Kiwi was one that we were looking at for more move to the downside, but they're both so weak. Euro is weak, and let's look at Kiwi. Yeah, they're both so weak that now they just cancel each other out. Pound yen. So we were watching this one. It's coming down to that demand zone, which could produce a really nice trade to the upside, but uh, so far it's not getting down there. It's in the process of getting there, so we got to wait a little bit longer. US CAD rally, like we were talking about, US dollar, Japanese yen rallying back up to test that area. We could get a really, really nice push to the upside now. It's just incredible how, how this works out like this, though. Just not long ago at all, most retail traders were short the euro. And you see what they did there? They were short the euro. Was it right here? Yeah, it was right there, right here. They were short the euro. They rallied price up to an area of supply that they created. And when everybody gets out of their shorts and starts getting in longs, they reverse it. And that's when the move is done. You see, it's the exact opposite of what the banks are doing. The banks were getting in short year. And as they were dropping, they were adding shorts alongside with retail traders here at the end. Then they start to buy to cause price to go up. It freaks out retail traders, so they start buying. They get out of their shorts because they think it's going to start going up here. And who knows what the news was at the time. There must have been a lot of other things coming out. And then they rally up into supply. They fill supply as retail traders are buying. And now look at this move to the downside. So that is practically it. I think, yeah, we're still waiting for gold. So some good signals here. Okay, I'll add this one, the euro, to the list. Okay, I'll screenshot that one. And EUR/USD. And I'll add that one. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And I'll just put this one in here now. Euro, US dollar, November 10th. Okay. Right. Let's just do that and that. Change the color of that and add this here. Okay. Okay. Very good. So Euro US dollar weakness now kicking in strong, producing new H4 supply within a downtrend, which is the signal to engage in short. I'll look to enter shorts on rallying contact of H4 supply, and then look at 50-minute chart for momentum to shift down as the chart signal. And let me just add something else to that. Does that make sense to you guys? As the chart short signal. All right, good. Now I'll just okay. I'll save that and post it. Like that. Beautiful. All right. So this is good. Like, I mean, this is, you know, just like the initially when we were looking at the euro. Okay, what we were looking at was if this area gets taken out, it opens up the floodgates for a move lower. Okay. And so then we had the signal was weekly uptrend for longs, weekly downtrend for shorts, right? So what we got here was the weekly downtrend, not the best looking, so it increases the or decreases the odds, but downtrend line, supply, that was the signal to get in shorts. That was what was required. Weekly downtrend to take advantage of momentum to the downside with our targets over here. So the signal as laid out months ago, many months ago, is playing out. So this goes to show you the power of the system, right? We look at the charts, we see what situation the chart's in, and we immediately know what's required, okay? In this case, we need a weekly downtrend to engage in this to the downside. So it produced a weekly downtrend, not the best looking one, but it still did, and now it's using it, okay? So, and we located this daily supply embedded in it, which was the high probability zone for price to reverse from, and it reversed. Then we never got the proper structure, but we did get the shift of momentum, the new supply, the strange looking trend line that threw us off. But at the end of the day, all the elements are there of the continued move to the downside. Okay, now we got a downtrend on the 4-hour, new supply. That's furthering the oh, what's the word I'm looking for? The conviction of the chart to move down. Okay, there's like sign after sign after sign that this was going to happen. First one was monthly demand being taken out. Second one was the weekly downtrend. Okay. Then the 4-hour momentum shifting with the break of the trend line. And now we got the downtrend with supply being formed, all obstacles taken out, clear move to the downside, right? So when I write here, let me just be very clear so that you guys understand this. Short at H4 supply within H4 downtrend. So when I say there's a signal for this chart's producing a signal to move lower, it's a 4-hour downtrend right now. At this moment, 4-hour downtrend. So the system says that if price rallies up to this area here, remember the signal. Let me open this up for you. Where was it that I had it written? Oh, it was written here, but I erased it. Short at H4 supply with H4 downtrend. Okay. Before, what was written here was short at weekly supply, weekly daily supply with a 4-hour momentum shift, right? Okay. So that's the signal. When the 4-hour chart shifts momentum, it's telling us that they're going to shift momentum to the downside and propel price lower. All right. That's the signal. Then it's where do you want to enter, because now you have many opportunities to enter, many different places to enter. Okay. You could enter in now, but your stop loss would have to be based on this downward trend because it's the downward trend that you're engaging in. Okay. You're engaging in the downward trend. And it's in a downward trend if price is here, if price is up here, if price is up here, or if price is actually contacting the supply. Any of those moments, we're still in a downtrend. So if you're going to engage in the trade now, you have to understand where you put your stop loss because of what we are engaging with. We are engaging with that 4-hour downtrend. So understand that and make sure that you know how to base your risk. All right. So if you like to take 2% trades, 2% risk of your portfolio, you probably wouldn't want to open up 2% up here, all the way down here, if that's what you wanted to do. Taking 1% here, and then if it does retrace up, then you take your other percentage here, okay, for a total risk of 2%. Okay, so you could do it like that, and then add as it goes down, because once price comes up here, 15-minute momentum shifts, and then you can add to another position like that. Okay, because I'm already situated short, I'm in no rush to be adding. If price rallies up there, then I'll look for the trade signal, which is the momentum shift on the 15-minute chart. That will be the trade signal, okay? How you engage in it is up to you. Do you just wait until it shifts momentum and then get in? Or do you wait until it shifts momentum, creates supply, and then get in when it retraces to supply? It all depends on how aggressive you want to be and you know what your risk tolerance is, okay? I don't know what that is. For everybody, it's different. All right, but that's looking really good. Really good. I like that one. And the alert is set. Pounds got to be dropping. Sure, of course. You know, this is looking good for a really big move to the downside. This is just beginning. Beginning. 131.09 would be my targets right here. That monthly demand zone, 131.09. And I think we covered everything. Somebody wanted to look at Bitcoin, retracing to, oh, look at that. It's coming back down now. Wow. It used that demand. So remember what we were talking about, okay? So let's go back to what we were talking about earlier today. Uptrend, yes. Weekly trend, yes. Daily trend, yes. 4-hour trend, yes. Okay, so if they're all signaling up, then you start with the lowest time frame, demand zones for long trades. Okay, if that doesn't work, daily demand zones for long trades. If that doesn't work, weekly demand zones for long trades. Okay, those are 3 options to go in long Bitcoin. You have 3 very clear options, right? Now, if you want to get into some advanced trading, some really advanced stuff, I'll share with you something, okay? I'll share with you something. So let me just map out something here, daily demand, and I'll sync it on there. Let me share with you something that I think you might like. Okay. And then weekly demands even further, so I'll map out that as well. Weekly demand right there. And down here. Sync and layout. Is it all the way down there? Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Okay. So let me show you something here. Okay. Here's the situation. You got the weekly zone is down here. Okay. Weekly demand zone. Here's your daily demand zone. And this was your 4-hour demand zone. Okay. So there was 3 options to go long this. There's this zone, or this zone. Those are your 3 options from what we're seeing on the charts right now. Okay, you got 3 options. So some advanced trading. So I've done this before and it works extremely well. If you don't like losing money, you know, and you know what you're doing, this is what you do. You put an entry in long here with a stop loss here and a short order here with a stop loss before the daily demand zone. Okay, not a stop loss, a target. Okay, so you get in, you get triggered, and if it works, you're in the money. And this short trade never gets triggered, and you eventually cancel it after it goes into profit and targets are hit. Okay, but if it goes against you, you take a loss on this stop loss here, but then the short trade gets triggered, and you make up your loss with the move halfway down, and then you make a profit on the move down to the next logical area where price is going to hit, which is this area. Okay, Then you have a long order here and a stop loss here. And if it comes down and goes away, then you find new areas of demand and you buy those and you continue to add to your position. If price drops through that demand zone and you take a loss at the stop loss, you have a short order here. Halfway down, you take, you have another target, and by the time you get to the weekly demand zone, which is the next logical place to see a reversal, you're covering the loss from this trade here, and you gain a little bit. So you're actually taking advantage of the momentum to the downside and getting rid of the losses that you're taking from trading at these zones. Okay, so that's a trading style technique that you can think about. I wouldn't recommend it for you at this point, because what you have to also understand is that if price does come down here, it can fall short of hitting this demand zone and start to reverse up. And then how do you manage that trade? There are ways to do it, but this is the type of stuff that you have to accumulate knowledge and skill of, okay? That way you don't get your emotions too heavily involved when you start getting into trades like this, because this is when your emotions will be dragged into the whole thing. So you understand what I was saying? You guys get that? You understand the logic behind it? It would be an emotional roller coaster, exactly. That's why I'm saying. But it works extremely, extremely well, because the logic is, right, you got the time frames. If one doesn't hold, price typically drops to the next one, okay? If that doesn't hold, then it drops to the next one. Now, I've already told you what to watch for here, right? That we have point 1, point 2, rally up, rally up. Yes, it could go higher, but you also got to be careful about this, okay? And here's another thing I'll point out. Look at this daily chart. Point 1, point 2, what? Point 3 is there. Look at the distance, okay? Look at the distance. Is it proportional? Do we not look for proportion? When things are disproportionate, does that not mean that usually something else was going to take place? It usually does. So I wouldn't be surprised if price comes down here, takes this out, and then moves lower. I wouldn't be surprised. Okay? Not that it's going to happen, just saying I wouldn't be surprised based on what we're seeing here. So if I wanted to take a long here, it would have to be like a 1 hour momentum shift, removing major obstacles, and then I would engage. That's what I would do. Okay. So is that a good review of Bitcoin? Yeah. It is a roller coaster. Yeah, for sure. So you got to be careful about that. All right, so that's a good update for the watch list. We added the euro. We should watch that. Everything's moving well. Euro weakness, pound weakness, Aussie weakness, Kiwi weakness, weakness in the CAD, dollar being strong, and also weakness in the yen. So pretty much all the things that we had on watch for the higher time frame is now playing out. So that's pretty good. All laid out here, you know, the strength that we are expecting in the U.S. dollar, the targets that we had outlined, okay, um, and U.S. Swiss. Remember we were talking about. Let's look at U.S. Swiss, about that move to the upside to go back up to supply. Yeah, it's lagging, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Yeah, and euro making its move. That target has been there. Pound will follow along. Yeah, yeah, looking good. Uh, in this one, Kiwi monthly supply was hit, so the pressure is downwards. For higher odds long trades, we want monthly demand to be in play. Exactly. Yeah. All right, very good. Great. Thanks for joining. If you want to watch a reprieve or a review of the video, just come over here, right here, okay, on the watch list and click on that, and then you can review it. Okay, guys, thank you. Yes, thanks for joining me today. It was nice, very nice. And we'll talk to you guys soon. All right, have a good one.